It's episode 10, so it's my turn to do the introduction. As we all know, every five I do. I'm introducing into the SNAP Snap. Hell yeah. The Shelby Nick Average Podcast, where we forget to say the date till the middle of the show. But not today. Today is April 3rd, 2024. And before we get into the how you doing, I want to give a quick shout out to my cousin, Alex. I think with the last podcast, with it kind of messing up and whatnot, I don't know if that was quite said. So if anything, Alex, you guys take a shout out. Thanks for being the homie, and thanks for tuning in. Share it to all your friends. And typically we like to get into the how you doings and whatnot. But I want to give a quick little thing, Nick. Is that okay?
Go for it.
All right. So my little thing is, of course, we usually say this for the last, but I really want to pressure it on. If you like this, give it a like, give the channel a follow. We try to be weekly, and we do have some big plans along with big hopes in the future. Most of all, if you share the pod, that's how we get views and bigger plans and whatnot. If we get more, if we get better things, we can get, better mics. Ones that don't sound like I'm 10 miles in a tree shouting through one of those like cheerleader little cones.
Yeah, ones for me that might actually work every once in a while.
Yeah, ones that don't bug out for the first 3 minutes and be perfectly fine later on in the episode. So, of course, like I said, give it a like, give it a share, give it a follow, and then let's get into the how you doings, Nick. Nick, how you doing?
Well, for it being, Wednesday today,
Yeah.
Wednesday, April 3rd to be exact, because somebody didn't say the intro in the beginning. The week's going pretty well. Just being able to, there's a lot of football news that's been breaking,
Mm-hmm.
some more, what's the word I'm looking for? Shocking than others.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
The
No.
the basketball world's been doing pretty good. March Madness is, as good as ever.
Oh yeah.
So far,
I,
I've
I
been.
I heard you like March. Do you like March?
Oh, 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 Shelby. I mean, it's no longer March, but boy, do I like March.
One would say love March.
But it's officially April. It is like,
Ain't that crazy?
it is
Like,
it's the busy month for all college students.
yeah.
Because this is where, and I mean, me being a college student, I would know. This is where like a lot of final projects are starting to be talked about. A lot of final papers are starting to be talked about. And these are only the beginning. This is the beginning. This is day 3. And so when you get to the end of March, that's when, you know, final projects are due, papers are due, anything and everything that you can think of is gonna be due, and the only thing we want to do is sleep. So that's kind of difficult.
Yeah, yeah. A little intel. We were gonna start the podcast about 2 hours earlier, but sleeping McSleeper pants over here was actually snoozing away. So yeah,
You're
I
right.
can. I'm not a college student, but I can attest that college students like to sleep.
You're right. I was sleeping, but at least I didn't start a game.
That's also fair.
Yeah,
That's
somebody
also fair.
decided to start a
I
game when
did
I got
it.
on, so there's
I
that.
listen.
But
As
if you want to
soon
call
as
me out, I can call
Rainbow
you out.
Six,
That's what's
as
gonna happen.
soon as Rainbow Six, okay, all the people, Rainbow Six Siege on ranked has a thing where if you back out, you will, isn't it, you can't join matchmaking for a while, and then it takes your credit away and shit.
That is correct, yes. But at the same time, I feel like you had plenty of time to back out from the time that
I
I
didn't.
sent you a text saying I'm getting on to then
Dude,
having
that was,
troubles opening up Discord between between. But it's fine, you know.
Is
We're
it
here doing
fine?
the
It doesn't
podcast.
seem like a fine. It doesn't seem like
It,
a fine.
it was fine until you decided to call me out for sleeping.
I love you, Nick. I love you, Nick.
It goes
Say it
both
back.
ways. Don't you worry,
Say it back.
Shelby.
Say it back.
I said it goes both ways.
That's not the same. It's
What?
like it's like your girlfriend just like give a heartfelt
Whoa,
speech,
whoa,
and you're
whoa,
like,
whoa. I
same.
get it. My girlfriend's name is Shelby. That doesn't mean it's the same with you.
Could be.
I don't.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so is that how's you doing? You doing fine? A little stressed
Things
from
have
school.
things have been ramping up a little bit, but we're getting through. We're getting by. We can always look forward to the days that we do the podcast. And
Hey,
yeah,
love middle of the weeks, baby.
it's
Hard
giving
day,
me.
good day.
And so yeah, that's how I'm doing. How you doing?
How I'm doing? So I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We have a important race coming up in about a few weeks or so, and uh this weekend I'm actually going to my sister's baby shower, so that's cool. Um, Shout out to her and her now husband. He's awesome. I love that kid. But
Wait. You said her baby shower?
yeah,
Wow. First time I heard about this. Congrats to her. Yeah, keep going.
oh well, yeah. Shout out to her. Um, I got that on Saturday, and then I'm racing the day next, and then you know gonna be going through the week, tidying up the car a bit, seeing if there's any problems I need to fix before the important race, and we're gonna let it fly, baby, before the time doing. That's exactly how I'm doing. I'm doing good.
Well, I mean, you love to hear it. Yeah, being able to, for drag racers, the winter is always kind of bleak. All the tracks
Mm,
shut down. That's when a lot of long projects may start up, or just a bunch of
yep.
downtime and whatnot. So it's kind of nice to get back out there and the smell of the rubber and the
Mm,
sound of all the cars going down the track.
yep. Oh, and you can't forget about the listening of the bitching about tires are sticking from the guy who takes racing way too serious. So like me and Nick bets our mortgage routinely on sports betting. I am
Okay.
in my fifth house, and my house is just getting downgraded because
I,
first it was the wall, then it was my room, then it was my AC, and I'm in shambles. But these guys, they are so up their own ass. So I'm not going to say his name or anything, but I have a guy who lives in my town who's like a big known racer and all that. And Nick, do you know who I'm talking about?
I believe I know who you're talking about. Actually, I
Okay.
do know who you're talking about now.
Yep.
Yes.
I was gonna
It took
say.
me a little bit, but yeah, I've had
Yeah.
interactions with said fellow.
Yep. And he is a jackass. So funny enough, I was on a job, and the like the pool guy, I guess, came up and was talking to me and all that, and of course he uh he asked me what my hobbies were, just trying to start some good old blue collar small talk, and I told him what I had and what I raced and all that. He's like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And long story short, he actually knows that guy that I'm talking about. And he's like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "He's like, what's your thoughts on him?" I was like, "I think he's a jackass." He's like, "Okay, good. I don't want to be like, turns out he's your friend or anything." I'm like, "Nah, dude, he's an op. He don't know my name, but he's an op." So don't be that guy that throws a fit about a race, about someone's having fun and just try to make it all politics and whatever. Like with racing, it's nice because it's kind of like swimming, like it's just it can be you and just you, or you can be you and the person you're racing against. If you don't get first, you're like, okay, did I PR? kind of thing. Not like we're football where it's, you win or you lose, basketball, you win or you lose. There's teammates to be involved. Where racing is just you, you in the car. But apparently not to these guys. These guys are just the biggest hellions at the track. So don't be them.
I mean, everybody knows that kind of guy as well,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to
It's,
think that people try to strive to stay away from that. But then again, if everybody strived to stay away from that, then we wouldn't have those people in the world. So I don't.
yeah,
Something's not working.
something's got to give. Yeah, it's kind of like the super fan of like football or anything. Like the people that are like, oh, only Seahawks, and like if there's not a game, or if the Seahawks aren't playing, they're not watching football at all. And they're like the people that anytime you talk about football, they always try to bring in their team somehow. Where it's like they just suck the fun out of everything.
I was thinking more along the lines of like, when their team wins, it's because of how good of a job their team did. But when their team loses, it's anything and everything but their team.
Yeah, it
You
always
know,
like the refs' fault or something. Like,
I mean, the refs are the easiest way to get around, or yeah, get around your team losing.
hmm
A lot of people bring up conditions of like the field conditions that they team had to play through, just stuff like that, and that's I I don't like my football team losing as much as the rest. However, I also try to sit back and absorb the loss before I speak about it.
yeah,
I try
yeah.
to sit back and try to think, well, it's probably more than just the one bad call that was made early in the third quarter.
hmm No, I love what New Heights said. I don't know which ones. I want to say Jason probably said it, but it's like if it comes down to one ref call, then there was plenty of other mistakes in the game.
Exactly.
I love that part. So, um, do you do you know like obviously don't say his name, but do you know someone that's like that where it's like it's only their team or bust? Like us obviously we enjoy good football. We just want to see both sides play good football, stay healthy, just a competitive game or anything. But do you know that one that just doesn't care about the other 29 teams
Oh,
or
everybody knows
31?
somebody like that. Everybody knows somebody like that.
Mm. What
Yes,
team
of
does he
course.
like?
Yes. Well, I mean,
Because
it's gonna be a shock. It's gonna be a major shock to everybody. I
yeah,
don't know if I don't know if I really need to say it. I mean, it's not gonna be that difficult to realize that he likes the
is it the
Kansas City Chiefs.
Balcoys? Oh, the Chiefs. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking Cowboys.
That is also a good one. I think those two. I think the Chiefs are now nowadays in that role because of all of the new fans
The recent
that
success,
have,
yeah.
yeah, the recent success, the new fans that they've gotten, whether it be fans just learning about the NFL for the first time or, the bandwagoning fans that go from team to team to team to team. And I mean, the
hmm
Cowboys are the Cowboys are just gonna be Cowboys. I don't.
The boys are
Cowboys will
gonna
just forever,
boys.
yeah. Every year is gonna be their year, and every year is never gonna be their year.
Right. Well, I don't know. Like, so back to the whole like all of a sudden new fans. Like I get what you're saying. But I'm gonna also vouch for the people that are the new football fans. Maybe Taylor Swift brought them on or anything like that. It's tough cheering for a bad team. Because I'll be honest with you, Seahawks wasn't my first team. My dad was a huge Cowboys fan because I was born in late '90s, so makes sense. And so I was actually a Cowboys fan. I think we talked about this odd before.
Yeah, we
Oh,
talked about this
Marion
episode
Barber.
long ago.
Yeah, yeah. So it's stuff like that. Maybe it's a uniform that you like or anything like that. But what I will say is, if you're gonna be a fan, like a new fan to football, and you choose whatever team it may be, whether it be the Chiefs, the Cowboys, Chargers, for whatever hell reason,
Oh,
the
Shelby.
Broncos,
Nobody chooses the
just
Chargers.
that's true. Them sorry Bucks, dude.
There's
God,
I would say for
God,
some reason, but there's many reasons why people don't choose the Chargers.
dude. God. Anyway, um, it's okay to like a new team, but don't make it your whole personality if you just got it. Because I'm not going to be that person that's like um, gatekeeping, be like, oh, you can't be a Seahawks fan. You weren't around for the hassle. Like there's new fans every single day. If it should be like hey, we like the same things. Cool. Let's talk about it, or stuff like that, rather than try to gatekeep it and always move the goalpost about when you should have became a fan. But yeah, don't make it your whole personality and don't hate on other teams because you don't even know what the hell you're hating. Like someone who just became a Chargers, yeah, to hell with it, I'll keep
Again,
it. A
nobody
Chargers fan.
nobody does that. Nobody does that.
If I'm like, hey, who's the tight end for the Falcons? Or like, uh, it's like don't be that person that think you know when you don't, and it's okay not to know, but it's not okay to pretend to know.
Well, so since we've already been talking about the subject of football, let's just keep it here. Oh, we'll
Okay.
just start off. We'll just start off with football. There's no sense in
Okay.
trying to, you know,
Bounce
try to
around, yeah.
bounce around unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And so I would like to start off the football segment with somebody's top five free agent move that just got discredited.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it last week, and that's due to time and rule changes and whatnot. However, a couple weeks ago, me and Shelby did a top five free agent moves of the offseason because there were so many different free agent moves that it'd just be too long of an episode if we tried to do them all.
Yeah, for sure.
And on Shelby's list, I don't remember exactly what position, but I do know that in your top five list, L'Jarius Sneed coming back to the Kansas City Chiefs was a top five free agent move for you.
Yeah, probably first or second, truthfully.
And well, L'Jarius Sneed is no longer on the Chiefs.
Yeah. So weird. It was so out of the blue too. Like, I don't understand it.
So L'Jarius Sneed got traded to the Titans, and like you said, out of the blue. I did not see that one coming at all, and especially for how much the Chiefs got back.
Yeah, you mean didn't get back? Yeah.
2025 third round pick and a 2024 seventh round pick
Yeah, for someone
for,
who was the bright spot on their defense
what does it
in
say,
the
for
postseason.
lockdown. For
Yeah.
lockdown. I mean, he helped the Chiefs beat the
Ravens.
Ravens in multiple plays. I mean, the most key one was when L'Jarius Sneed punched out the football while Zay Flowers was trying to dive across the goal line late in that game.
Yep.
And so it's just crazy to me that the Chiefs didn't. Chiefs, I don't know if it's like they had to let him go for salary cap issues. I don't know why they had to let him go, but it's shocking to me that they didn't try to fight for more.
Yeah, especially because obviously the Titans are in a rebuild state. So I'm sure they saw Snead as like a pretty prized thing to have for a sure corner as he is. You could have at least got a player back or something. I mean, truthfully, I don't know who the hell's on that team anymore, but but you could at least try to get someone back or better draft picks. Like I said, I know they're rebuilding, so then draft picks are like gold to them. But I mean, Snead, like you got a seventh round? That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, seventh round this year, fifth round next year.
Yeah. You know how I get seventh rounds in Madden? I sign free agents and then just trade them for picks.
As I say,
A
you
free
go to the
agent.
lowest player on
Yes.
your depth chart.
Yeah, that's like a 60, 60 overall, and then you have a really, really good corner, and then you got the same haul I would have from, just some random ass quarterback. It's crazy.
Yeah, the amount that, because I mean, like I said, nobody was thinking that this was going to be a thing.
Mm-mm.
I mean, there was no talks of Jerry Sneed leaving at all, and here they are throwing him at a half a bag of chips, essentially. Not even a full bag, half a bag.
I was like, a quote unquote full bag is a half bag anyway, so it's really throwing for like a quarter of a bag of like Lay's, like
And
original
not
Lay's.
even, as I say, and it's not even like one of the good kinds of lays either. You're not getting sour cream and onion lays. You're not getting barbecue lays.
Is that your second favorite Lay's barbecue, or did you just say one?
I mean, I feel like I just tried to say the most popular. I don't.
Okay.
I like barbecue lays.
I was like, I'm not a big fan of barbecue chips. Like, no matter who made it. Like, I tried the Doritos one, sponsor us, and it just wasn't that good. I don't like it.
Is that the only barbecue chip that you've tasted?
No, no, I tried other ones. It's just the Dorito one, like the tangy or bald barbecue or whatever it was. Like just recently came out, and yeah, I was like, not good.
Oh, I didn't even realize that Doritos made barbecue chips. I thought that was like just. I knew it wasn't strictly Lay's, but I thought Lay's had like the best one.
Um, I don't know. I like kettle chips. Maybe it's because they're more of a crunch. They have a barbecue one that's like mid, but of course I don't. Like I said, I don't like barbecue, so it's probably my favorite one.
Hmm.
But
I feel like generally a better chip is sour cream and onion.
specifically Lay's cheddar and sour. Dude, that bag is delicious. That's like one of
Lay's
my favorite chips.
cheddar.
Yeah, is Lay's cheddar, sour cream, and onion. It's like the two mix. Or it's not like mix, so it's not like 50-50 bag. It's like the two flavors on the same chip. But yeah, next time you go to the store,
I don't
just
know.
be willing to buy a $7 bag of chips because chips are outrageously
I
expensive.
do not have that in my budget anymore. I would prefer to eat for the week instead of buying a bag of
You know
chips.
what? You know what? So when you come up, we're gonna get back to the hall. We're gonna watch an anime the first day you're back, or maybe the next day or whatever. We're gonna do that. We're gonna
I
watch Teen
don't know.
Titans,
I
and
don't
I'm
know
gonna
if
have a
it's
big bag.
I don't know if it's where you shop. I don't know if it's where I shop. I don't know if it's just because I haven't gone down the chip aisle and paid attention or paid attention to the chip aisle in however many years. I have not seen a bag of cheddar, sour cream, and onion. And like I said, I don't pay
Okay, I
attention to
guess
the chip aisle because you know
technically they're Ruffles.
the Ruffles. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
different. I've seen Ruffles
You
cheddar, sour cream, and
you
onion.
were just saying I've never seen any of those. Like,
I
yes,
was
I
saying
get
I
I
haven't
said
seen
Lay's.
Lay's.
Yeah. Review the tape. Comment section. Tell me I'm not crazy. But
Either way, I
yeah,
meant
those are the
that
good
I've
ones.
never seen Lay's. Ruffles, Ruffles are a pretty good chip. I'm not gonna lie. You pair Ruffles with some Dean's French onion dip.
Hell yeah.
You sent me a picture of the bag. Why
I
did you
did.
send me a picture?
Well, because
Anyway,
I already saved it. I went on Google, looked it up, saved it, then realized the Ruffles. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know those." And then I'm like, "Well, I'm not just gonna have this in my gallery for no reason."
if we, we're gonna act like one of those. If we have an editor, put a picture here. There's not gonna be a picture there because
You
we.
got it. You got it.
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, no. Anyway, I'm not. I can't add more to what I'm already doing.
That's fair. That's fair. If you guys are aware, Nick is carrying the podcast. He's a real one. He's the brains, the background, the technology, all that. So he's a real G. Put in the comment section, Nick a G.
I appreciate that.
Got you.
That actually does mean a
But
lot to me. I'm not gonna lie, but
you want to kiss about it or?
maybe.
Hey, over some ruffles,
So
dude. I'll get some ruffles, and we can have like, you know how kids always have like spit covered Cheeto dust stains.
we're gonna move on. I don't want to think about that. We're gonna move on. I don't want to think about that. I'm pretty sure viewers don't want to think about that. People could be eating at this very moment, and you just said those words, and it's already making me disgusted. So I'm sorry for everybody out there. I can watch what I say. However, I cannot watch what Shelby says, and I don't know. He doesn't have a filter. Yeah. That was the worst Joker impression I think I've
That
ever
wasn't
heard.
the Joker. That was me laughing like a maniac because that's how I act.
Uh-huh.
This
Moving
is my
on.
Joker impression. Ooh, hey, I'm the Joker.
Moving on. To, moving on. I don't know anymore.
I'm on Demon
The
Time, baby.
the Los Angeles Rams signed Tre'Davious White, All-Pro corner. The Rams last year lost Jalen Ramsey. This year they lost Aaron Donald. However, they've still kept a lot of their offensive weapons, obviously. And so, with keeping their offensive weapons, excuse me, now they're just trying to kind of reload the defense. And if Tre'Davious White can stay healthy, and I know that's not really a big if because Tre'Davious White hasn't been the most accident-prone corner in the league. I just know last year I think he tore his Achilles.
It was a pretty serious one, whichever
I
one it
know that one
was.
because it was early in the season too. I think it was like week 3 or something, maybe week 4, where he tore his Achilles. But he's an all-pro corner. I mean, the Bills definitely missed him last season. The fact that the Bills let him walk away is crazy to me. And he signed a one year deal, $8.5 million with the Rams, which
Yeah,
is
I think that'd be a good. I think it'd be a good pickup, like you're saying. If you know, I'm gonna assume everyone's healthy. I'm not gonna
yeah.
wish anything on them. So hopefully he is healthy and whatnot. But I think that's gonna be good. I would honestly kind of like him to get a defensive tackle, considering losing someone that takes up triple teams. That front line is gonna be hurting. So I wish they would have. Maybe that is something in their plans. But I wish they would have got a defensive tackle either um, over Tre'Davious or with him.
With as a fan of football, as a fan of good football,
Good
I'm
football.
very sad to see Aaron Donald leave. I mean, Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Donald was good football on defense. Um, as a 49ers fan, I'm very happy to see Aaron
As a
Donald
Seahawk
leave.
fan, I'm pretty sure Aaron Donald has the most sacks against Seattle, and it felt like it every time. I'm like, homie's a menace. I mean, hell, the most like iconic Aaron Donald picture of him getting triple team, like thrown in the air and held, was against the Seahawks.
And so, like you said, with the Rams defensive line felt very mediocre around Aaron Donald, and so yeah, with Aaron Donald gone, it'll be very, very difficult. I mean, having somebody who, like you said, is a constant double team, constant triple teams taken away, that kind of hurts them. And like
Yeah,
I said,
big time.
as a fan of good football, I'm very glad to see Tre'Davious White sign with someone. As a 49ers fan, I'm not so happy to see him sign with the Rams.
Right. I don't know. The only thing is your guys' team is so loaded that like if one corner's going to be covering probably Debo, like Brandon Ayuk is still going to be wide open. So
You're right. As of Wednesday, April 3rd, Brandon Ayuk is still on the team. However, I'm very nervous about Brandon Ayuk leaving the team.
hmm
I
especially
mean,
what Chad Ochocinco said to him and like kind of hyped him up and all that, which is for a good reason. I'm not saying you know, not warranted, but yeah, Ayuk's kind of like I think he's starting to have his eye open about how much money he could make and all that on any other team.
yeah. And said it's just nerve wracking because for the 49ers, I mean, he was very good all year long. Stepped up when Devo got hurt multiple times.
hmm
I mean, he was our best receiver. And so if we see him leave, it's not going to be fun for 49ers fans, and that is myself included.
Yep,
And the last big trade that happened,
the big trade.
this morning, once again, Wednesday, April 3rd, this morning, Stephon Diggs is a Houston Texan.
That Texans team is scary.
Again, I don't think the Bills got as much as they could have.
No, just
The
is it said like do we know what picks?
So the Texans received Stephon Diggs, a 2024 sixth round pick, and a 2025 fifth round pick. And the Bills received a 2025 second round pick. That's all. The
So you're
Bills
telling
had to
me they
give
get
up their number one receiver and two late round draft picks for a second round pick.
that is weird. I wonder what's going on in Buffalo then, because that that receiver room is sorry now. So
Well,
sorry.
that receiver room, even before today, was looking bad because even with Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis had left.
hmm
So, like, they didn't have a number two wide receiver. The Bills have just, I mean, I feel like there's a definite winner and a definite loser here in this trade. The
Big time.
Texans have just become one of the scariest teams in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Mixon at running back. I thought the only problem that the Texans had was their young age, which obviously was going to help as the years go on, and the fact that they didn't have a running game. So now they add Joe Mixon, someone who can, provide a running game. And now they have, I mean, Trayvon Diggs said it best. 3 number one wide receivers.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody saw Houston Texans games. I mean, I don't necessarily blame you if you didn't. However, watching that Texans offense was so fun last year. I mean, Tank Dell, who was their wide receiver number one, got injured really late into the season, and that one sucked because like he was a really good or not really good, like not one of the top tier wide receiver ones, but I mean he was starting to stand out, make a name for himself, and start to be a threat. When Tank Dell went down, everybody saw what Nico Collins could do because Nico Collins was making big plays in the playoffs. Nico Collins was making big plays like week 16 and 17. And now you add a top 5, top 7 wide receiver in the league to that team.
And a really, really good route runner. I think that's one of the things that's really slept on by Stephon is obviously everyone knows he's a good route runner, but just, having a good route runner on that team opens up a lot. If you look at the Niners, it's the same thing with Brandon Ayuk. If you look at the Seahawks, it's the same thing with Tyler Lockett. I feel like having that really good route runner, the Patriots, when Tom Brady was there with Julian Edelman, if it wasn't him, it was the other guy,
Wes Welker.
Wes Welker, or I was thinking about Danny Amendola. But it's really important having that really, really good route runner on that team because if no one else is open, it seems like he is. And now you have Stephon Diggs, who's also a really good receiver, along with, like Diggs was saying, and along with your point, two of the number ones with a really good receiving back.
Yeah, CJ Stroud. The Texans, I feel like the Houston Texans have officially won free agency.
Big time.
I truly believe that no team has benefited more than the Houston Texans. Especially because, like, we've only been talking about the offense. That's not even adding Danielle Hunter on defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that adds the one portion of defense that they were
Actually,
struggling from.
I'm pretty sure that was on my top five free agent moves. So you were the one
Probably.
sleeping, not me.
But so, like, the Houston Texans, I feel like have officially won free agency from this trade. Like, they had a really good offseason going into today, but because of today, they have solidified themselves as like some team has to do something absolutely drastic to make it seem like they outdid the Houston Texans.
Yes, especially for how much they also didn't give up. They just add, and add. I'm interested to see about CJ Stroud. I like CJ Stroud. I think he's a very humble guy. Just seems like a good leader and does what it takes to win. But I feel like playing on the Texans and being the second pick, there's a lot less pressure that comes with that. So now we get to see, was it a second or third year coach? Is that what
Second, they
second?
were
Yes,
CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans were both rookies in their respective roles.
okay. So, 2 year, second year quarterback, second year coach, all these good players that should fit on paper, now it's time to add the pressure to it. And so I'm interested to see because, I'm a big culture guy. I'm a big, culture in a team room can mean a lot. And the Texans haven't had that good culture. So I'm interested to see if the culture goes back to what it was or if, cleaning house on the previous regime is going to do anything.
And I think the Houston Texans did a very good job changing their culture with D'Amico Ryans. I mean, like you said, there's not a lot of pressure for the Texans. However, I mean, this is a team that made it to the playoffs. This is a team that made it to the second round of the playoffs. So, I mean, there's obviously pressure when it comes to playoff football, and they won a game.
Yeah, but at that point they were hot. They were the one of the hottest teams in football. Let's see when everyone else, from a clean slate as the new year. Let's see how they can do it for 17 weeks, kind of thing.
Well, with this roster, I would like to see them for 17 weeks. I mean, it looks like this is going to be one of the most fun teams to watch.
Right. Okay. Okay. Let's do this real quick. Who is going to be your top 3 or 5? I'll let you decide. Top 3 or 5 team to watch next year. What's going to be a team that you're like, if they're playing, you're going to do almost everything in your power to watch.
Ravens, Texans, and Niners.
Those 3.
I mean, 49ers are going to be at the top because it's not an if and or but, it's a win. I'm going to watch all 17 games. And then it's going to go Texans, and then it's going to go Ravens.
Right. Right. So I think my top 3 would be, and this isn't in order. I'm doing it again, Nick. The Chargers. Because I have a feeling they're going to take a receiver, Marvin Harrison, at 5 or 4, wherever they're at,
Because they
with
need
Justin
to.
Herbert.
Their receiver room is hot ass.
That's true, but they also have a new coach, a winning coach, and I'm really interested to see how that team's
And no
offense.
receivers.
They'll have one if they draft. Knowing my luck, they're going to draft like the damn tackle from Notre Dame or something.
Joe Alt.
Yeah, it's like, God damn it.
They're gonna stack the offensive line, and they're gonna draft Blake Corum, and Jim Harbaugh is just gonna relive his days in Michigan, just this time in Los Angeles.
Yep. But I'm going to say them. I'm a big fan of Jim Harbaugh. I really want to see if he's able to turn Herbert around. I know Herbert was picked like 4 or 5, but I said when he was drafted, like that's going to be the sleeper pick. Like the fact he fell that low was ridiculous. Coming from Oregon, having a great year, then his pro day of launching a damn ball like a nuclear bomb. I knew he was going to be good, or I had a feeling he was going to be. So there's the Chargers. I'm gonna say the Chiefs just because I want to see how their defense reacts on the backside. Because with Chris Jones is one of those guys that's like he has quiet games. Like he'll have a really good game but be quiet. Where like Aaron Donald is just a disruptor. He just destroys everything. And DeForest Buckner and kind of like those names like that. Chris Jones is kind of more on the reserve side. Like he'll make some good tackles, but like he's not a force, it feels like. And so with Snead being on the backbone of that, I feel like they're going to really feel that defense. And then which we didn't even mention, with the recent thing with Rashid Rice.
Yeah, we were gonna get into that after this.
Yeah, so, we'll do that. But I'm interested to see them. So I'll say the Chiefs, and then, yeah, Texans. I'd really love to see great success from Texans. I like seeing the smaller teams like that from a smaller market win, basketball included. I think it just makes it for a better league, and there's a lot of parity that's going to be happening next year.
So with this trade, we've been talking about how good the Texans have become, how fun the Texans are gonna become. Texans this, Texans that. But Texans weren't the only ones involved in this trade. I don't think we've seen a bigger drop off in a team than the Buffalo Bills. Here are some notable Buffalo Bills players that have left the team. Starting off, Stephon Diggs. Like I said, top 5, top 7 wide receiver in the league, gone. Gabriel Davis. The Bills' number 1 wide receiver in Diggs is gone. The Bills' number 2 wide receiver in Gabe Davis is gone. Sticking to offense, Mitch Morse, their really good center, is gone. And now, so that's number 1 receiver gone, number 2 receiver gone, starting center gone. Now let's hop over to the defense, shall we? Jordan Poyer, all-pro safety, gone. Tre'Davious White, all-pro corner, gone. Leonard Floyd, someone who had like 13 and a half sacks for the Bills last season, gone. I mean, this was a team that already struggled at linebacking position, and they struggled at linebacking position last year because of how many injuries there were to their linebackers. But now the only place where it seems like people have not left are the linebackers.
Yeah, so the bad point is now their strong suit because that's the only people you know.
Yeah. I mean, they still have Micah Hyde, but I feel like Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer were so good because of how well they worked with each other.
Yep.
They're probably really good separately. I don't want to take anything away from them. You have to be talented on your own to be talented in a group. But so Jordan Poyer gone, Tre'Davious White gone. That secondary is going to be in shambles. Leonard Floyd, their leading sack person, gone. And now on offense, it's just going to be Josh Allen and James Cook. That's it. They're going to play 2 versus 11. I mean, the Bills have to have an absolutely incredible draft to have any chance of getting back to where they were. Not even getting over the hump, just getting back to where they were.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like Josh Allen in the recent years, like he's still a great quarterback. He's still, probably top 5. But it just feels like the recent years he's been like forcing the ball. He's kind of turned into that Dak almost, where it's yeah, he can win you a game, but he can also lose you a game in the same breath, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like you had Gabe Davis, who's a big time catcher, big physical receiver. You had Stephon Diggs, who's a really good route runner. You have all these backbones that he's not going to have anymore. And so I think Josh Allen, I think this is, like I said, he's still a really good quarterback, but I think this is when he's going to start falling down the ranks.
I mean,
Is
this is
then you start realizing.
and like the Bills don't have a first round draft pick until very late in the first round. They have or actually, I think they only have 1 second round draft pick because the second round that they got from the Texans is next year. And especially with the way that the AFC is stacked, I mean, the Bills were competing. It would be different if, like, the Bills got to face the Chiefs or whatnot, and they just didn't compete against them or stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm really interested, especially with that division being as good as they are. I mean, the Bengals, like, yeah, they lost T. Higgs, but there's going to be, a big hole at running back, which I love Mixon. Mixon's one of my favorite running backs. I always get him on Madden. It just always seems like he drops to me. But with with the Bengals coming up, the Ravens, I mean, obviously with the addition of Derrick Henry, I would say Ray Rice, Zay Flowers coming out, kind of like really coming into their own with the addition of Derrick Henry. Like I said, that defense is for real. I mean, they're going to have a lot of uh, a lot of competition.
And that's not even like
That's
in their own
yeah,
division. You still
Yeah,
have to go
that's
through
just
the
AFC.
Dolphins. You still have to go through the Jets, who have also had a really good offseason. I mean, really, the only team that you're now competing with is the Patriots, and that's because that's a team that was going to go out and get 3 wins anyway, and now that's what the Bills are looking like.
Mm.
Not necessarily 3 wins, because Josh Allen is a lot better than
Yeah,
Mac
he'll,
Jones or whatever starting quarterback the Patriots are going to have. Josh Allen will go out there and single-handedly win them probably 6 games this season.
yeah.
But
I mean, after that, I don't know, dude. Like, especially obviously this isn't the same team that we saw take the Chiefs to overtime, or the Chiefs took them to overtime. This isn't the same team at all. Like, I mean,
yeah,
or just in the names you listed, those are just the losses of this offseason. Like, it's just they're falling lower and lower and lower. It seems like Josh Allen is, in MVP talks in the first 5 games and then drops off. And then in the last few games, he kind of reminds us, like, hey, I'm Josh Allen. But, yeah, I don't know, that's not there anymore. That's not
so
there
due
anymore.
to time, we're going to move on to the Rashi Rice incident.
Rashi. I was mispronounced. Sorry, Rashi.
Rashi Rice was there was videos surfacing of him in Dallas, Texas, where his Corvette and a Lamborghini were caught street racing. Now, at first, people were saying like it might be his Corvette, but what if he wasn't the one driving? Which I mean was a fair statement to have
Yeah.
until there was also video surfacing of at the end of the street race he ran into a vehicle that had other people in it, obviously, and getting out of the Corvette and just walking away, like in broad daylight. It was just him and his buddies got out, walked away. The dude recording them even said, "So you really just gonna walk away?" And that's what he did. He just walked away.
Yeah. Again, we're racers. Do it on the track. Don't do it on the street because this is like, yeah, you may think you have control, but then there's going to be one time where you don't. And it's not just going to, it doesn't have a chance to just be you that's affected. It has other people affected. And speaking of his profile, Rashid, I just can't think of a better word. You got to be dumb, dude. I mean, you you had Kansas City like almost in your palms. You had all this like contract was going to be on the way. You're young, and just to give it away for what? Like I don't know. It's just so silly to me that people are willing to give up
Well, then
everything
it was
just for that.
last year was his rookie year. He had won the Super Bowl. I mean, in your first year, you're feeling the highest of highs in
Hmm.
the National Football League of all places, and just to potentially throw it all away. I mean,
And truly, I think it should be thrown away. I want the same treatment. Yeah, he didn't. I don't. No one was hurt or anything from it, right? Whereas people,
I don't know if anybody was hurt. I know nobody was killed.
okay.
So there were
Well,
no
at
deaths
least
from
there's
it.
that, thankfully. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still think you should kind of get the Henry Ruggs treatment. I mean, that completely altered his thing, and it's time. Obviously, what Ruggs did was horrible. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. It was horrible. It was dumb, but obviously, it wasn't that good of an example. So I think the commissioner needs to pull up their pants and really throw the book at Rashid because yes, mistakes happen. I get it, but at the same on the same note, you are professional. Act like it.
So there were no deaths in this incident, thankfully. As you said, I mean, just you're shown in a different spotlight professionally, and I don't necessarily know. Like I get it when people want to go out there and have fun, but there's just ways of doing that that won't throw your career out the window.
Yeah.
But so there's another incident where sadly the life of Vontae Davis is no more.
Hmm.
Vontae Davis was a fairly good secondary player for many teams during his career. He was found unresponsive at his home earlier this week, and he had passed away at the age of 35. Very heartbreaking thing to hear about. Vontae Davis, um, if you, a lot of his teammates have come out and like said how good of a person Vontae Davis was. I know, like on the Pat McAfee show, Darius Butler was talking about Vontae Davis and how much he helped him. Vontae Davis could be known for multiple things. I mean, we talked about it not too long ago, actually, on this podcast, where he had his retirement halftime of week 2. I mean, he literally hung up the cleats for halftime and never put them back on.
Yeah.
Or there's a Hard Knocks episode where he gets traded from the Dolphins to the Colts, and his first reaction is, "Can I call my grandma?"
You know
So
what's really cool about that clip? Like, yeah, the grandma thing's nice, and I'm not gonna say it's not, but it's the fact that like the Dolphins coach really went in. I don't know what other trade situations look like. I'm sure it's a lot of like, you're just not a good fit here. But I mean, like he let him know, dude. Like he's like, dude,
yeah,
you're inconsistent as hell, da da da. And homie took it on the chin, dude. Like he was like listening, and I mean, learning from that moment and stuff like that. And that is so great. That's like a really good model for players, kids, hell, even adults. Just like, listen to the criticism, take it for what it is, take it at face value, reflect a little bit. Like Vontae, he didn't argue, he didn't say you're wrong, he didn't get mad. He was just listening.
yeah, it is. It's very sad to see, um, because he was only 35, and that's very sad to see.
Mm. Do we know what happened at all?
I don't think any information on that has been let out to the
I was
public
I haven't heard
because
anything. I just heard
it's
he was unresponsive.
yeah. The only thing that I heard is that that he was officers were called to the residence by a home assistant where he was found because the assistant found him unresponsive, and then by the time the police got there, he was no longer living.
Hmm.
They did the only thing that has been released is that the police said that the information suggests that foul play is not involved. So once again, the information suggests that foul play is not involved, which means that like nobody took his life. He was just found unresponsive.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, 35 years old, tough to see.
it's really crazy, and again, stuff like this. He's only 35. What really hit me was the Jamar Hamlin thing. It just really shows you there's like everything could be gone so fast.
Yeah,
Like 35, he had a lot of money, people loved him, and kind of stuff like that, and then just gone the next day. And it was just crazy. It really put things into perspective.
so that is the NFL portion of Aw Snap. We're gonna move on to a little bit. Actually, we didn't. We forgot to do it this time around. So let's make sure that we keep up with our tradition, shall we? with the NFL draft coming out, we like to do a draft of our own.
Let's do a draft, baby.
And
This is
this
such a
week,
slept on segment of the show. I love this show.
this week, it is very weird going from such a sad segment to such a fun segment, but we're going to get through it because this week we have video games.
Video game.
Me and Shelby sat down. We talked about it for a long time. It was going to be hard to follow up such a fun draft that we had last week, but we decided that a good topic for this week would be video games. And so once again, there's 5 rounds. We're going to try to compile the best team that we can. And this time, instead of it being one series of video games per person, it's going to be one series of video games
At all.
for both people. Yeah, at all. So if Shelby wants to take one of the Madden games, for instance, I cannot take a Madden game anymore. I mean, whoever has it is whoever. It's going to come down to specific games.
Yeah.
Somebody is not allowed to take the whole series. They're just allowed to take one game. But if one game is taken, then that entire series cannot be selected anymore.
Yep.
So since I had the first round pick last week, I will give you the first round pick this
Are
week.
you sure? If you want, we can do the number.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I feel like you're plotting on me, boy. You plotting?
A little bit. I just want to see. I want to see.
See, this is tough. The first
I
pick's
got my
tough
list
because
going.
I don't know where your head's at. Because with this, it's very like strategic, you know. So it's like, do I pick something now to prevent him from picking that series or a game in that series at all? So with that being said, there's 2 things I'm looking at right now. No, neither of them are my first pick. What's funny enough. like I said, this is playing chess, not checkers. So I'm gonna go Pokemon Fire Red.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that
go
was
Fire
a good
Red.
one. That's a good one. I did not have Fire Red on my list, but
Did
I
he have
had
a
a
Pokemon?
Pokemon game.
Okay.
I had a Pokemon game.
Which one's then? Which one's your favorite?
Personally, I think that's a fumble. So I could have went with a couple different Pokemon games. I believe that Pokemon Emerald is a better game. I also believe that Pokemon
I didn't mess
Platinum
with Emerald.
was a better game.
I never played Platinum.
That's a loss right there. Pokemon Platinum was that is a big
L.
loss. But you fumbled the bag, and now you're gonna pay the price for it.
I feel like you're gonna say another one.
Whew. There is not a game that is there is no game that is more widely known than this game. I mean, it can be as simple as you want, it can be as complex as you want, but just looking at the face value of the game, it doesn't get more simple than this.
Yep.
There's a game out there
Yep.
where it's just a game of blocks. Just a game of blocks. Yet there's few games can say it's had the longevity that this game has had. Round 1 is going to be Minecraft.
Minecraft. So
The fact that you
was my
picked
5th
Pokemon
pick.
Fire Red is crazy when Minecraft is up there.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Did I tell you the time how I started a Minecraft fan club in like 3rd or 4th grade?
Dang, so you started a fan club and you
I
still
didn't
didn't
click
pick
it.
it.
So here's my thinking behind it. I didn't think you were going to go Minecraft because you're not a big Minecraft person. So that's where my head's at. That's why I said Pokemon Fire Red, because I wanted to block you off from Pokemon.
Pokemon, I think there were 2 things. One, Pokemon was a good choice because Pokemon has had longevity as well. A lot of people, kids, even certain adults like the game of Pokemon. I still watch Pokemon videos from time to time. But I also think that there are better Pokemon games than Fire Red as well. So I think that's a bit of a fumble. You could have gotten Pokemon way later down the line.
See, I didn't know where your head's at. That's why I don't like. That's why I don't like this first pick. It's too much pressure. It's like snapping.
Ah, you know,
Um.
some pressure can make you crumble, or pressure can create diamonds.
Yeah. Pressure bust pipes from great diamonds. So with my second pick, I'm gonna go more of a solid pick. Um. You talk about longevity of Minecraft. This
Mm-hmm.
game came out 11, 11, 11. This game is known as one of the greatest games of all time. It is referred to as one of the greatest games of all time. I'm going to go with Skyrim. You ever play Skyrim?
I have not ever
You
played
are
Skyrim.
missing out. I believe it's on the Game Pass. Get that thing, play that thing.
I was never
That
really
game
that
is
big of a Skyrim.
fantastic. You never
Yeah, I
played it
just
though, because
uh,
I didn't know I was going to be that big of a Skyrim person as well. But there's so much customization. There's the story's amazing, and you have to think the game is what's that? 13, uh, going on 13 years old, and it still looks pretty good considering it's 13 years old. And there's still things to this day being figured out by people playing Skyrim. So give it a chance. It's a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic game.
so you had a game that is widely known as one of the greatest games ever, and you said it was released 2011.
Correct.
I'm gonna pick a game that is still popular to this day, but it was released on 2004.
Okay.
This game, very big in the PC world. Not a lot of people have access to it with their consoles. However, the amount of players that have been on the game and still play the game to this day is absolutely remarkable. And the amount that they're still adding to the game and the amount that you can do in the game. I want World of Warcraft for my
Okay.
second overall pick.
Okay. Damn, dude. Minecraft and World of Warcraft. You're just a
Yeah.
craft guy. You're just a craft guy.
Well, I mean, they're two very different sets of games, but that's what you want in a basketball team. You don't want somebody who can, you don't want five players that can all just drive into the paint. You want some shooters around it. You want some different styles of video games.
That's fair. That
Minecraft
is
and
fair.
World of Warcraft. Give it to me. I think that's a W duo in itself right there.
I, it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. So I think I think World of Warcraft's a good pick. I do. I also think you're doing a bad job of sealing off the edge. You know the job of outside linebacker
I do.
is to seal off the edge, push everything on the inside. So I'm going to seal off the edge to the Call of Duty franchise.
Oh, that was gonna be my next pick. You got lucky. I was
And I'm
staring at it.
between
I was staring at it.
and I'm between two games right now.
Hold on, let me try to guess those two games.
Okay, okay.
I believe the two games that you were in between are Black Ops 2
All right.
and the first Modern Warfare 2.
No. You have Black
Because
Ops 2 right.
I had,
But
because those were the two
truthfully,
games that I was in between.
yeah.
Hmm.
I'm going to say Black Ops 2. I had the 2019 Modern Warfare on there. I liked it better.
Wow.
I did like it better. It's more of a polished game. And what's I think is more remarkable about it is everyone was playing Call of Duty 4. Modern Warfare 1 came out, it did great. Modern Warfare 2 came out, has an amazing story, amazing characters, really good guns, really good maps. But I think the fact that 2019 took a dying franchise and revamped it is nothing shy of a miracle. So with that, I'm gonna have to go Black Ops 2 still because Ghost came out and nobody played it because they'd rather be playing Black Ops 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Black Ops 2.
As an enjoyer of Call of Duty Ghosts, yeah, Black Ops 2 was still so much better.
Dude, Black Ops 2 was that guy, dude.
That was
Guy.
That's a good pick. I was looking at it. I said to myself, as soon as I took World of Warcraft, I said to myself, I need to take one of those two games next. I was
Yeah.
hoping. I was hoping it'd slide one more,
Nope.
but it didn't.
What's really tough though is I have two
That's a big
really
one.
big franchises.
That's a big one. I think to counteract Black Ops 2, we're going to go with a game that you did not like, but it won Game of the Year
I think I know
the
which
year
one.
that this game came out. The amount of people that got to play this game, the amount of people, just the natural beauty of this game. This game was a little bit more difficult than what people were used to, but that's what made the game so fun. When you got that euphoria of finally completing the game.
Mm. Okay.
You know what game I'm going for.
I am. You tricked me, but now I know.
I'm gonna take Elden Ring.
Yep.
It might not be the best
Hated
From
that game.
Software game. It might not be the best From Software game. However, the amount of people that joined the Dark Souls community because of Elden Ring is the reason why I'm taking Elden Ring over any other of the Dark Souls games.
Yeah, as you should. I mean, I don't like Elden Ring, but I appreciate Elden Ring. If that makes sense. Like, it's a really good game, just not my type of game.
Just the natural beauty of the game as well. There's a DLC coming out. The trailer looks phenomenal. I'm so excited for it.
Hmm. So, is this the fourth pick then?
This is the fourth pick.
Fourth pick. Okay. So, just a quick recap. I got Fire Red. I'm writing it down. I got Fire Red. I have Skyrim, Black Ops 2. So, hold on. Is
So,
this no?
yeah,
This is
there
the
you
fifth
go.
one, ain't it?
No, this is the fourth round. Because you
Oh
have
no 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 no. Yeah
Pokemon
yeah.
Fire
I'm
Red,
silly. I'm
Skyrim, and
silly.
Black Ops 2.
I'm silly. I'm silly. Okay. Um. Ooh man,
This is big. There's so many video games out there.
there is. And here's the thing about my list. I'm sure you noticed. I haven't been picking the best games of those series. I've been picking my favorite games of those
Mm-hmm.
series.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's gonna, oh man. So I'll be transparent. I'm going with the Need for Speed,
You're going with the Need for Speed. Ooh, this is a tough
but
one. This
it
is a
is
tough
a
one
tough one.
as well because there's so many good old
There's
Need for Speed games. Even
yes,
some of the
so
newer
there's
ones are
three.
still pretty good as well. I
So there's
think
three I'm choosing between.
so. I know your favorite Need for Speed game.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah. So my favorite, my favorite one. but it's
Yep.
not regarded as the best one. So now I'm in between, do I choose the best one or my favorite one? And with that, I'm going to play the people. Give me Most Wanted. Need for Speed Most Wanted. It was a game first of its kind, it feels like. It was a great game. I made a RX-7 in that game, and it was nasty.
That was the right pick for Need for Speed. I know you really like Need for Speed Pro Street, but
Yeah.
Most Wanted is the pick right there.
Yeah,
It
Pro
really
Street's
is.
my favorite one. That's why I was like, I've been picking all my favorite ones. I'll pick one for the people.
Now, now, what kind of a sports podcast would we be? I understand that, sports are kind of dying off a little bit. We're ramping into playoffs. We're ramping into playoffs. And so, like, we're still going to have sports to talk about. So, what kind of a sports podcast would we be if we didn't have a sports game in our draft? And I
Yeah.
know what you're thinking. Oh, well, he's going to take one from one of these two series. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'm not
Oh.
taking a football game. I'm not taking a basketball game yet. I'm taking a soccer
Oh.
game, but not just any soccer
Ooh.
game. Not just any type of soccer.
That's a good
This
pick,
one,
Nick. That's
this
a good
one's
pick.
its own type of soccer.
That's a good
This
pick.
has never been thought of before until this game put cars with soccer.
Yep. 2017.
This is Rocket League.
This is Rocket League.
This is Rocket League, and Rocket League is my fourth round pick.
Okay.
I spent so much time on Rocket League. I was better than the average person on Rocket League.
And I am worse than the average person.
I can truly say that because of the rank that I achieved in Rocket League, I don't like to toot my own horn, but just for the viewers out there, I reached Diamond 2 at one point. Now I understand that that's not like the best or anywhere close to the best, but that is better than the average human in Rocket League. And I spent an absurd amount of time. And Rocket League has such a close place to my heart, and I will always appreciate Rocket League.
Oh,
And
man.
that's round 4. That was to counteract Need for Speed Most Wanted, because Most Wanted is a good game, but you can only do so much with those story games.
That is true. That is true. Oh, man. The games, dude. I'm telling you, I think so. Read your four.
The 4 that I have are Minecraft, World of Warcraft, Elden Ring, and Rocket League. I got
God,
games
dude.
for anybody and everybody out there, and I'm not even done with my list yet. I came to play last week. You should
You
know how
can't.
much prep and how much time I spend crafting these teams. I'm trying to be like Sam Presti out here for
I
all
was
my
gonna say,
drafts.
dude. I definitely feel like I'm getting fleeced.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm
this is
telling
tough.
you, you have
I think
fumbled a couple picks,
I
but that's just
have.
up to me.
I have, but I like I said, I went more into the my favorite and not the people's favorite, and I think that's going to be the death of me. I think that's going to be the death of me. Um, man, last pick. For whatever reason, I feel like there's a lot of pressure in the first one and a lot of pressure in the last one. Because the last one, you want to end off on a good note, and the first one, especially if you're the first pick, you set the tone for the whole draft.
Exactly. That's what happens. You can have such a banger first round draft pick like Skips, where we just go crazy. Or you can have, Pokemon Fire Red, and this is more of a chilled out
I
draft.
can't wait for the next draft. You know what? For the next one, we're not going to be talking about it. We'll let the comments. We'll let the comments
Ooh,
decide
let
it.
the
Yep.
comments decide what draft.
Yep. Yep.
That's cool. It's funny to me that you're already looking ahead to next week's draft.
Oh, dude, like I said, I'm
That's
fleeced.
what that's what happens.
I'm fleeced,
That's what
dog.
happens. I take time in this. I research. I put
I
time into my
listen.
players.
I won the last draft.
Whoa,
Pizza Steve,
whoa,
are you kidding me?
whoa
Pizza
there, buddy.
Steve.
Whoa, now you're throwing accusations. You're just trying to get in my head. It is very clear that I had
It's fine.
Skips and Schnitzel. It didn't matter who you had. I won off of those two alone.
What do you mean? Robin fights actual bad guys, and
That's
Iroh is
cool.
the fire dragon, dude. What
First
you
and
mean?
foremost, you can't even pronounce his name right. It's Iroh. There's no Y at the end of it.
I can't wait
Yeah.
for you to go on summer break, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
snitzel your damn back, dog.
You can do all you want, except for win a draft, is what I'm hearing. Go ahead. Come
It's
here.
1-1.
Come here.
It's
Wow.
1-1.
That is very generous for you to think. Because
Uh-huh.
it is not 1-1.
Yes, it is.
It is
So
not.
with this, I'm gonna go. So I need a really good one. A really, really good one. And there's some on the board, but I feel like there's so much different ones that's not regarded as the best in those series. I can kind of get lost in translation. So I'm gonna go Guitar Hero 3. Specifically Guitar
Guitar
Hero 3.
Hero 3. That's a good one.
It was legendary. The best song from it, won by Metallica, by far.
Oh, once again, you're not. You're.
What song's better? What song's better than one by
No,
Metallica?
you're right. You're right. You picked the best Guitar Hero. 1000%. Guitar Hero 3 is. I don't. There's a couple of rock bands in there that might fight for Guitar Hero 3, but Guitar Hero 3 was a very good pick. I think you left a video game off the board that I 1000% thought you were going to take. And you're going to be very upset when I take this video game because it's just going to seal off how good of a draft that I had from
Okay.
beginning to end. From beginning to end. Because, I mean, we got a little bit of sports, a little bit of everything. Once again, the longevity of this game. It came out for PlayStation 3. We are currently well into the lifespan of PlayStation 5. The amount that has been added to this game, the amount of story that's in this game, the online play of this game, the amount of fun that people have with friends, the amount of fun that people have with just random people in the community. There's nothing better than getting you and 3 friends
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to rob a bank. So I'm taking it.
Mm,
And I'm
yeah.
sealing off my 5 with Grand Theft Auto 5. Number
So
5.
again, this was a draft for my liking. I'm not a huge fan of the GTA. They're good, but I wouldn't consider myself a huge fan of.
I thoroughly enjoyed GTA 5 when I got a chance to play with friends. Now, I understand if you try to go on it today, in today's world, um, things aren't going to end up very well. There's a lot of people that just like to go around and unalive you for no reason. But back in the day, the good old glory days of GTA 5, Oh, were they so good. Oh, were they so good.
Yeah, I got fleeced this draft.
And you
Don't
fumbled the bag.
don't you worry. Next draft, whatever it'll be, I'll be coming.
Good. Finally have some competition.
Uh-huh. I
You gave me a
telling
little bit
you,
of competition last week,
little bit of competition. I won that.
but
You know it.
you won that. You won last week
I
is a stretch.
I so won. There's
We'll let
not
the
a pick
let the
on
com
there.
let the we'll let the comments decide. How about that? Who won this week? Who won last week? Go on last week's video if you haven't seen last week's draft. Listen through that. Tell us who won that. Tell us who won this one. Just a quick recap. My team is Minecraft, World of Warcraft, Elden Ring, Rocket League, and GTA 5.
And mine is Fire Red, Skyrim, Black Ops 2, Need for Speed Most Wanted, and Guitar Hero 3.
Let us know who won, and let us know what draft you would like us to do. If you have any draft ideas, put them in the comments as well. Underneath, Nick has clearly won this week's draft.
That's fair.
And
But
so
clearly lost last week's.
let us know what draft you would want to do next week. We took a little bit of time to do this. We're sitting here at the about hour 26-minute mark. We like to do about hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. So we're not going to have a lot of time to talk about basketball. But I would just like to quickly run through a little bit of March Madness basketball because, I prefer March Madness basketball, as I've said many times on this podcast before. The Final Four has been set. And I would also like the podcast to know that I'm very happy that Shelby did not do a bracket. He forgot to fill his out.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those talks about me and him potentially doing a bracket are not in the works. And I'm very happy about that because my bracket is in shambles. I believe every single one of my Final Four teams lost in the Sweet 16. Yeah, I had a couple number ones in there, but I chose the wrong number ones. UConn looks like the most unstoppable team in college basketball right now. The game was tied against Illinois 23-23. Then a UConn Huskies basketball team, men's basketball team, went on a 30 to nothing run. 30 as in 3-0. The score was 23-23. And then before Illinois scored another point, it was 3. That's how dominant this UConn team is. They are going against an Alabama Crimson Tide team that, quite frankly, in my opinion, is just going to get absolutely dogged by this UConn team.
Mollywopped.
Kudos to Alabama for making it this far. Really, they've faced some very hot teams in this tournament. Clemson was fairly hot. I believe I don't know what exactly their schedule was because there's so many games that I can think of. But I know that Clemson team was very hot. Oh, and of course they beat number 1 seed North Carolina. So they've earned their spot in this. But I also think that no team is going to beat UConn. Purdue and Zach Edey is one of the most frustrating basketball games to watch because college officials do not know how to officiate Zach Edey. They don't. There have been very few tall big men to come through and none of them have been as good as Zach Edey. Zach Edey is 7'4". During the Elite Eight game, I believe it was, he shot 22 free throws because of how he plays. It seems like Zach Edey can do no wrong, and I'm not saying this as Zach Edey slander. I think that Zach Edey is a very good ball player to be able to get where he is. I just also think that officiating can be a little lenient with that whistle when it comes to stuff that Zach Edey does. But congrats to Purdue. Past 2 years they got beat by a 16 seed, 15 seed. So their tournament history has been kind of rough. So congrats to Purdue for making it to the Final Four, where they face the team that it seems like everybody in the country is rooting for. If you have followed any sort of college basketball these past 2 weeks, NC State has been on an absolute tear. First and foremost, NC State was a 10 or 11 seed in their conference championship, or in their conference tournament. They were one missed field goal by Virginia away from making the NIT. And I say that because it was 55. The score was 58-55 against Virginia in the conference tournament. Virginia misses their free throw with like 5 seconds left, and NC State is able to put in a Hail Mary 3 to tie the game and win that game in overtime, and then go on to win their conference tournament. That's the only reason they're in this tournament. But they have been so fun to watch. DJ Burns as a big man is just fun basketball, is good basketball. The footwork that he has, the vision that he has. Plus, I was kind of watching the game a little bit, talking to Shelby, the ball movement that NC State has. There was a term that me and Shelby used to have when we were avid 2K fans, and that is picking them apart like vultures. Because when people die, vultures go down and they like to pick the carcasses apart limb by limb. That's exactly what it feels like this NC State does. They just wait, they wait for their opportunity, strike. It always seems like there's a back or cut or something. And watching this NC State team is fun. I'm rooting for NC State against Purdue, but ultimately I think Purdue are going to end up in the national championship game with UConn winning it. Those are my predictions for the Final Four and the championship game. The Final Four gets played this weekend. Men's championship game gets played on the 8th, which I believe is Monday of next week. And then really quick before we go on to NBA basketball, I'd also like to give a quick shout out to the dominance of WNBA, or not WNBA, women's college basketball.
I don't know either.
Because women's dominant this past weekend. Starting off with Iowa against LSU had the highest amount of watchers with 12.3 million. It's the highest amount of watchers in women's college basketball history. So shout out to them. Angel Reese put on a show. Caitlin Clark was absolutely lights out for essentially the entire game. UConn Huskies, Paige Beckers, South Carolina, again, NC State. I mean, we have two teams that made the Final Four in both men's and women's, which is NC State and UConn. And I don't know the number for men's college basketball, but I saw somewhere that the average ticket price for the women's Final Four is $360. And that place is going to be packed for the Final Four. And very excited to watch both men's and women's Final Four action because men's and women's Elite Eight action was so fun. And that's what I have for college basketball.
Yeah. Well, appreciate it. I always say this, but next year I'll try to be more in tune with it. It just seems like March is always a busy month for me.
Yeah. It
They
is
never
it
seem
is
to make it.
well, it is difficult when you have an actual big boy job because I'm able to kind of sit in the back of the classroom and put college March Madness games on my computer when they come on at like noon. It's kind of hard to do that when you have an actual job that watches what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
So I understand. Also, I've been this way about March Madness for many years now. So
Oh yeah, big time. Big time. So since you got into the college hoops, I figure I'll get since I'm more in tune with that. So
into the professional hoops. Yep.
the professional, you know. So we have Joel Embiid coming back and doing really, really well. He looked a little bit out of shape. He's one of those guys that kind of plays himself into shape every year, and I think um, with his injury sidelining him for so long, I think he's gonna have to play into that. But it kind of answered all our questions of what Joel are we gonna be seeing. Well, I think we're gonna be seeing the same Joel by the time playoffs. So the Sixers are looking significantly better. Excited to see who they go against in the
And
first round.
to come out and beat the Thunder game number one. I mean,
Yeah,
there's highlights of him showing how exhausted he is. He got fouled and just laid on the floor tired. He shot a free throw and immediately like went down to put his hands on his knees from being like out of breath and whatnot.
yeah. So I think it's gonna be interesting, especially with it seems like every time you have your one go out, kind of like a Nico Collins kind of situation where your number twos and the rest of the team steps up so much to make up for that. So now I'm interested to see this new experienced, Tyrese Maxey, who's used to having everything in the kitchen sink thrown at him. Now he's gonna have, the MVP Joel Embiid as a forerunner, and then him being in the background as he was. So I'm excited to see that. Um, you know, um, Tobias Harris is, come out for a contract year, so I think he's going to be playing a little better. So I think they're going to be just fine with that. Do you have any more things to say about Mr. Embiid?
I'm very excited to see Joel Embiid come back. Um, and I mean, he's very fun to watch. Obviously, past MVP. It's going to be fun to see what he can do during the playoffs if he can get into shape for these past like 6 or 7, 8 games.
Yeah. It's going to be tough for Nick Nurse. Like, do you play him a lot to try to prepare him for the playoffs? If you have a chance to gas him out, or do you not play him enough and then risk the chance of it being gassed out in the beginning? I think, like I said, Nick Nurse, I'm not gonna envy your job this year, especially considering that they are projected to play. Let's see the eight. Ooh, yeah, they're playing. Assuming everything goes in right now. So you have two must wins, and then because he's the eight seed, he's either going to be going against the Celtics, who's going to be insane, or the Bucks. So he's not going to have a fun time.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tough round one
Mm-hmm.
if he can make it.
Yeah, yeah, big time. Um, next news is that the Nuggets and Timberwolves also clinched the playoffs. Nuggets are looking like a team that's going to be for real. It's going to be a very, very, very big target on their back in the West, considering how good the West is. On top of them being champs, Timberwolves, they're going to be interesting. I don't know when Cat's injury is supposed to be going up, but I think it's around into the season, maybe first or second week of the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes back. Does he do a Joel Embiid? He's tired, but still is Cat, or is it going to take a while to get into playing shape again for him? Um, Jalen Brunson getting MVP chance in Miami. I uh, I love Jalen Brunson. He reminds me of like just a bulldog, just a big, funny enough, big small body that doesn't let his height hinder him. It feels like a very like a almost like a Isaiah Thomas when he was on the Celtics, but more physical. And I think Jalen Brunson is a really good leader for that Knicks team. I think that's exactly what the Knicks needed. But to get it in Miami is pretty interesting, pretty funny. I think I think Jalen Brunson, especially with the rise of his new podcast with Josh Hart, I think it kind of rise that like he's a really good guy, really good player, and all that. So he's kind of like a players or people's favorite,
Yeah.
And then I like to. I think next year during football season, I think I'm going to start I want to call it the Mahomes stat of the week. And what that is, it's a ridiculous stat that is so skewed for one side to make someone look better or worse. So this week is Wemby having 86, or I'm sorry, more blocks than 86% of the league in history, which sounds really, really good. I'm not going to say it's not. But that is such a Mahomes ass stat because he is a 7'4" center going, and the stats, I looked it up, is for all NBA. So you have the Muggsy Bogues, you have the Isaiah Thomas, you have the Michael Jordans, you have all these guards are also in the same category. And people who only played, if you played a single lick of NBA games, you were considered as one of those people that he is better than. So it is
Let's
such
go.
it is such
Let's go.
a stupid stat. Like him having here, let's look up exactly. Him having as much blocks as he does is very, very impressive.
Because he had
Like I
9
said,
blocks in a pass game. And honestly, a lot of the media has been talking, and I believe it's true, is that it's only a matter of time until a quadruple double gets reached, and it's going to be reached by him. Just because of how well he plays, the handle on the ball, the amount that he can shoot, his height, his length. I mean, that 9 blocks is a very unforeseeable stat. It's a stat that you rarely see, and so it's only a matter of time until he gets that 10 block game and then hits that quadruple double. Because he can,
yeah,
if he becomes the actual main contributor for the Spurs, which I feel like the Spurs have kind of calmed down a little bit, kind of understood their roles a little bit more. I have Jeremy Sochan, trying to put up 45 points a night. Instead, he's actually letting Wemby play like Wemby. And so I think Victor Wembanyama is going to be the quadruple doubles person, essentially. And I think it's only a matter of time until he hits one.
yeah, yeah. I have to agree with you. I think he's going to be the turning. It feels like every few years there's a switch. So when Derrick Rose was a guard, it was speedy, fast, small guards. So you had or small in today's world, 6'3" back then, or 6'5", what Derrick Rose was actually like pretty tall. But you have your Westbrooks, you have your Rose, you have your Darren Collins, you have your Rondo, and shout out to Rondo for retiring, great career. You have those molds. And then when Kristaps Porzingis came into the league, you have those unicorn types, right? Those really tall, can shoot, can handle the ball. And then when Kristaps kind of went down, and with the Thunder drafting Poku for whatever reason, uh, that kind of went away. And now I think we're going to see a huge flux in it, and just Chet and Wemby, that the game's going to get taller and taller and taller because it's already almost positionless basketball. And now you're adding to the fact that there's a 7'4" Frenchman, who's him, who can handle handle the ball like a forward, and once, like you said, once he gets that passing, it's going to be over for the league. I mean, he's 7'4". Who's going to stop him? Like, who's truly going to stop him? And he's just so agile with it. So I think we're going to see more transition into that. And I found his blocks. So he has 235 blocks.
Hey,
That
that's
is
higher than 84% of all of
86.
NBA
You put some
history.
respect. Yeah, you put some respect on that. Do you want to know here? Can you guess who has the most blocks in history?
I would assume somebody like Shaq.
No, Shaq is eighth.
And I would assume like Dikembe Mutombo.
He is second. I would have said the same thing. It is Hakeem Olajuwon. You want to
Mm,
know how much he has?
how much?
3,830.
Wow. That's a lot of blocks.
So that's why I'm like, really, like we're really gonna do, we're really gonna do the 86%. So yeah, that is my Mahomes stat of the week. Yeah, the 25th best has 1,771.
Wow.
Big old difference. But I think on top of that, it's a longer episode. So I think, is there anything else NBA you want to say?
I think you pretty much covered it all.
Let's cover it all. I want to give a quick, like I said, quick shout out to Rondo. He had a great career. So my I call my YMCA game when I play in the rec. I'm like Alonzo Ball, but as a Laker when you couldn't shoot. But Rondo was one of the big. He kind of made passing and defense cool again for the point guard position. So quick shout out to him. He had a great year as a Celtic. It was always the who's better, him or Chris Paul kind of thing going. And so congrats to the two-time champion, Rondo. Hope you enjoy your retirement.
With that, that has been episode 10. Since you did the intro, do you also want to do the outro?
You got it. You got it.
This
I mean,
has
hell, you
been
already started it.
this has been episode
Warming up my
10
fingers.
of the Shelby Nick Average Podcast, or as we like to call it, Aw Snap. 2 clean, crispy snaps for today's podcast. Love to see it. We thank all of you guys for
Clean.
taking time out of your day to listen to this podcast. Like Shelby said at the very beginning, if you enjoy it, please share with whoever you feel like would also enjoy this podcast. Make sure to hit that like button. It really lets us know that what we are doing is worth it. And, putting in this time is we can keep on doing it as well.
Keep on
But
keeping
it's
on, baby.
Put in the comments who you think won the draft. Put in the comments any ideas you have for a fun draft that me and Shelby could do in later episodes.
Yep, and also don't forget to put in the comments. I'll be checking. Nick is a G for carrying the podcast. This week he was very big. This week and last week he was real big in the draft. He made up the ideas and plans and all that. And I think he crushed both last week and this week. So appreciate you, dog. And I hope the people listening also appreciate you.
Well, thank you guys all so much for listening. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, share it with anybody and everybody. Yeah, we will see you all next week.
Bye bye.